Though it may be hard to believe, our modern world is still filled with incurable diseases. While a number of these newly discovered diseases are well understood and treated, many others are still incurable.
Some of the common incurable diseases in the infectious diseases therapeutic area are a number of mosquito-borne viruses, such as dengue virus, West Nile virus, chikungunya, yellow fever, tick-borne encephalitis, European encephalitis, Japanese encephalitis, as well as Zika virus. These are very dangerous. For example, dengue virus is caused by the bite of an infected mosquito called the Aedes aegypti mosquito, also the Aedes albopictus mosquito. Because of climate change, frequent traveling to the tropical and subtropical regions of the world, these mosquitoes are spreading, therefore dengue virus is spreading. The World Health Organization, as well as the Centers for Disease Control, have deemed dengue virus as one of the most important pathogens in the world and a leading threat in global health because it's the fastest growing pandemic now. It has surpassed malaria.
Currently, vaccines are being developed to protect against many of these illnesses. This does nothing for people who have already contracted the disease.
The difference between a vaccine and a cure is a vaccine prevents the disease, whereas a cure actually addresses it once you have it. And for things like dengue fever that affects hundreds of millions of people around the world, you really want to be able to address it with a cure right then, right there. If your house is on fire, do you want the building inspector to come tell you about the aluminum wiring in your house? Or do you want a fire extinguisher to put out the fire? That's the difference between a vaccine and a cure. Innate Therapeutics is going to be the cure for dengue fever.
Innate Therapeutics is bringing new hope to about 1/3 of the Earth's population for previously incurable diseases.
Innate Therapeutics was founded to do something a little bit different in that we focus purposefully on identifying early stage science that can be potential blockbuster drugs. We take the science, we in-license it, and then we create a fast-track development plan around the science if it meets certain parameters. So what typically would take 10 to 15 years to develop and get to market, we can truncate that time under a fast-track development plan to as short as 6 years.
Dengue is such an important global problem because it infects so many people across the tropics. And these are mostly people in resource-poor areas. But it ends up killing roughly 20,000 people a year, most of them children, most of them babies. And one of the reasons that dengue is such a difficult target is that there's actually 4 different strains of dengue virus, and each one of them, if you get infected by one of them, it will leave you with an immune response that will make infection with one of the other 3 worse. Innate Therapeutics is developing some technology revolving around dengue inhibitors. So these are things that would actually prevent the virus from replicating and growing in you once you've been infected. So these would be treatments.
We're bringing hope and inspiration to diseases that have no therapeutics on the market in each of these cases and no prevention. The fact that, for example, dengue virus may pose about a near $2 billion economic problem worldwide. The fact that parents have to stay home with their ill children who get these mosquito-borne viruses, the impact is just so negative. But the fact that in just a short 4 to 6 years, there could be a therapeutic on the market that Innate Therapeutics may very well bring to market is really something that's inspiring and gives people hope.
Innate Therapeutics acquires early-stage, proprietary, innovative science and creates a fast-track development plan to be first to market with profitable therapeutic cures for previously incurable diseases. For example, the company is currently working on developing a Zika virus therapeutic cure. Zika virus has been in their pipeline of cures for years, and Innate Therapeutics has now made it a top priority due to its worldwide impact.
Our very own regulatory agency, the FDA, has certain parameters where drugs that are in development can fall under what they consider fast-track development. And types of drugs that do are those that are of a disease not as prevalent in our country, or if the product will be a major breakthrough product. For example, if there's no drug on the market to treat it, you can fall under what's considered a fast-track development plan.
We're passionate about identifying and developing the best, most promising early-stage science to bring medicines that actually cure diseases versus only temporarily managing disease symptoms.
Our focus is on developing therapeutic cures as opposed to drugs that pacify disease symptoms. We really want patients who take our drugs to focus on health and wellness and go about living abundant lives as opposed to having to be on our drugs every day for the rest of their lives.
Innate Therapeutics is developing some inhibitors, antiviral molecules against dengue that would prevent the virus from replicating. In our studies so far, these have been able to show greater than 99% inhibition of viral replication.
We've got good in vitro results. We've now got to translate that to in vivo results, but we have something that's very potent, very able to cure the disease, 99% kill rate, and that's big. In microbiological terms, that's very big. And if we can translate that into in vivo human studies, that's a big, big plus.
Innate Therapeutics really focuses on being on the leading edge of development of drugs for these incurable diseases. So aside from the infectious diseases therapeutic area, we're also focused on oncology, autoimmune disorders, ophthalmology as well. And we spend a considerable amount of time researching technologies to in-license and bring into our fold.
Well, we're very focused. I think that's the real advantage of a company like Innate Therapeutics. We're focused on the disease, we're focused on getting the drug to market, but we all have an overriding concern for bettering people's lives. And I think that's a good thing that binds us together.
Most of these diseases have been considered neglected tropical diseases, and that's because they are in those far corners of the world. And sometimes the focus has been in other companies. How fast can we make money and how much money can we make? However, for Innate Therapeutics, we are really focused on the humanitarian aspect of the drugs that we're developing, which is why we are committed to making sure that each of these therapeutic cures get to every corner of the world.
For more information, visit www.innatethera.com.